What is up, mofos? JJ back here with JoeyWerk from Run Pure Bets. Here to talk on the MLB slate for Sunday, April the 11th. Fix my camera a little here. It's a little off. Okay, so yesterday, I've considered the video fairly successful. I know the best bet didn't cash, which is always a shame. But if you guys watched the video, I mean, there was countless bets that you would have cashed. And I even said, like, I was thinking about betting first five. What first five did I hit yesterday, Joey? I forgot. Mitch from Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I even talked in the video that I planned on hitting that, and you know, that cashed pretty easily as well with Davies being a train wreck. But, yeah, I mean, looking forward to this slate. I'll tell you this, Joey, coming in, there's been a lot of dogs that have been barking this weekend. Is that something coming into today that maybe you have a little extra eye on, or do you not even care about the 2-day sample with dogs barking this weekend?
I mean, you know, it was favorite heavy, coming into here, so the dogs obviously have value. I always look to try to back, a value dog. And I think there's definitely some spots here again today.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And we got a nice little slate here. I know there's some rain in the mix, especially on the East Coast. What's up, Buzzer Beater, Chris, Ray, and Willie? Guys, also be sure to check in the right way. Also, a few things on Joey's outfit today. He tricked me. He tricked me when I popped in. I was like, wow, you turned into a Mets fan. But when you dig deeper into the hat, it's just a Mets colored Yankees hat, which is weird. It's almost like you're trying to troll with the hat. But then he's rocking the RL, mini sweater hoodie kind of thing. So, clearly showing he's got cash. Meanwhile, I'm rocking a Sports Keg shirt. Now, why the Sports Keg shirt is so unique is because there's only like one person in the world that has one, and it's me. Jay has the other 99 in his house that he's holding hostage. So maybe one day he'll give out more of them if he's watching. But other than that, I guess let's just dive right in, right, Joey? First game up. I'm not sure what your schedule looks like, but you go Cubs Pirates first.
Yeah, cool.
What are your thoughts on here? So Brubaker versus Williams for the Cubs, and now Pittsburgh looked really good yesterday. You could argue they were, hate to say due, but I think it was more Zach Davies. Zach Davies was leaving a lot of good hitters pitches up there yesterday. I don't think he lasted 2 innings. He didn't complete the second inning, I don't think. But coming into today, what do you think on this matchup? Do you think Pittsburgh, gains a little momentum? This line's a little soft, to be honest, in favor of Pittsburgh. You'd figure, I'd figure the line like this would be hung at like 140, 145. For the most part, general consensus is in the 130s. What do you think on this game, Joey?
Yeah, so Trevor Williams in here, he pitched good his first start, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, 6 Ks versus Milwaukee's offense, which was stuttering at the time. This is versus his former team. He played 5 years, I want to say, with the Pirates, so should have a little extra motivation here. So none of these, probably in practice they faced Trevor Williams, but none of them have official at-bats versus him. His advanced numbers aren't anything really to write home about. He does throw his four-seam fastball over 40% of the time, and it's like 92 miles an hour. So he's been susceptible to the home run ball as well. J.D. Brubaker for the Pirates, he pitched well his first start, 4 innings, 82 pitches versus the Reds. He walked 4, struck out 6, only gave up 1 run. None of the Cubs really have good numbers versus him either, small sample size, but they have a 183 weighted on base percentage. Anthony Rizzo 0 for 8, Chris Bryant 0 for 4 versus J.D. And in 47 innings last year in the majors, he averaged a hit per inning and a strikeout per inning. Finished with a 4.94 ERA, and that was his first full year in the majors. His whip has been particularly good through his career, so nothing really crazy about that. Might be just like first start jitters versus that Reds lineup, which is definitely probably better than his Cubs team. The Cubs have the worst batting average in the league. Both teams in the bottom 10 on base percentage. I trust these starters enough to take under 4.5 first 5 here.
Yeah, I can't mind that at all, especially since I can't imagine Pittsburgh with guys at the bottom of that lineup that are hitting in the 100s are going to do work. Because for the most part against Davies yesterday, outside of like Colin Moran, it was a lot of the bottom of that lineup moving bases along yesterday during that big second run inning. And look, the Cubs, we know what they are for the most part. They're good versus lefties and righties, but they've had a slow start to the year, as you mentioned, with the bottom of the league in batting average. I don't mind that call at all. For me, as far as sides go, I don't have anything I like here. Again, I expected this to be in the 140 neighborhood. So I guess if you're in the 130s, I guess I lean the Cubs, but because you get about 5 or 10 cents of value there. But again, nothing that I'm going to jump at by any means, even in game. All right, so second game. Red Sox, Orioles, Jorge Lopez versus Nick Pivetta. Now, this is an interesting game for me. I'm interested in your thoughts on first, though, Joey, because I know that you've been a guy who's liked the Orioles in a few different spots thus far this year. Not that they've been like crazy under or overperforming, but I would say that overall they've been a little better than anticipated early on. It's only 8 games in, though. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, this is quite interesting. I'm not, as high on Nick Pivetta as the Red Sox are, that's for sure. He displayed control issues in his first start, walked 4 people in 5 innings. He struck out 4 as well. He only gave up 2 hits to the Rays, but his numbers in Philly were bad last year and the years prior. And I think more of the AL East bats see him. He's in trouble. Boston's pen has been surprisingly good so far this year. I'm interested to see if that continues. Jorge Lopez over from Kansas City going for Orioles. I'm not very high on him either. 4 years, he has 31 starts in 4 years, an over 6 ERA. He's not a big strikeout guy, relies on weak contact. Rafael Devers 2 for 2 versus him. Both hits are home runs. Obviously, it's they'll be without Martinez because he's on the COVID list, the Red Sox. So, I mean, I would probably just total an over, maybe Red Sox over, but I'm off this game. Red Sox team total over, but I'm basically off this game.
Yeah, so interesting spot for me here because I'm with you, Joey. I don't like Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta is like your prototypical poor man's sexy pitcher. He can typically get you strikeouts and get himself out of jams or wiggle himself out of jams. But boy, he has some severe control issues, and he tends to really struggle with guys from the left side of the plate. Now, he's not going to deal with too much of that from the Orioles today. However, I liked what I saw or what I've seen a little bit recently from the Orioles with their ability to get the home run ball. Now, they can't get consistent hits, which has been a bit of a problem. So they're not exactly putting a lot of pressure on pitchers. But here with Pivetta, they might not have to put too much pressure on him, especially since he's a big control issue guy. Okay, so Orioles have been patient, and if they continue to be patient today, you'd expect them to have a few extra guys on base. Now, of course, this Red Sox lineup is nothing fun, and Jorge Lopez figures to have himself in quite a few jams as well, which is why the total kind of makes sense, but it's not a spot I want. I don't like betting 9.5 at this park. I don't like betting over 9.5 numbers at this park in Baltimore. But overall lean, Orioles, I guess, at dog money for the game. I don't love it by any means, but because it is a little scary with this Boston lineup and how many runs they could probably score if they wanted to against Lopez in this Baltimore pen. But overall, I can't bet on lay, was it 150 or 145 with Pivetta in this spot on the road. That's never going to happen for me. So overall, I guess we move forward, Joey. All right, Angels Blue Jays. Now, a game that got but delayed for a few hours yesterday before the Blue Jays just absolutely pounded in runs. And I even said on the video, I know somebody asked because it was one of the later games, I didn't really touch on it, but I did get a question in the YouTube chat yesterday on my thoughts in the game. And I did say that at 10.5, it was a big lean for me over. And I was really hoping to get it to 10, maybe even jump in at 8.5 or 9 if you got a few dry innings. But the explosion did happen in the second inning yesterday. This is a little bit of a different spot. Alex Cobb and Tanner Roark. Now, I know you happen to love you some Tanner Roark, Joey. What do you think on these two going at it and how hot these sticks could be in this spot?
Yeah, this park is clearly playing towards the over. The Blue Jays playing in Florida in their spring training field. So, I mean, Angels bats didn't show up last night versus the lefty from the Mets, but I think this is a great spot versus Tanner Roark. I'm seeing that Anthony Rendon is not in the lineup, but Roark gave up 5 earned runs on 6 hits across 3 innings versus the Rangers in his first start. He pitched really bad in spring training. The Angel team has decent numbers versus him. Alex Cobb isn't a world beater himself, don't get me wrong, but he's better than Tanner Roark. He struck out 7, gave up 8 hits, 3 earned runs versus the White Sox in 6 innings. It was definitely a respectable offense. It's hot in Florida. Ball's moving out. Randall Grichuk basically is the only one with good numbers versus Alex Cobb. I mean, this is probably I'm on the Angels money line. If you don't want the bullpens involved, you can take the first 5. If you prefer, I wouldn't even be against taking the Angels team total over. But the Angels pen has been good to date as well. It's the better of the two for sure. They're currently in top 10 in ERA and 5th in xFIP. So I think the Angels are the better team here and better starter, better lineup. So I'm on the Angels here.
Now, interesting enough, if you bet this game, do realize you're likely going to be sitting with your dick in your hand for a few hours There is some rain, heavy rain expected at this park. It looks like it'll die down by about 4 or 5 o'clock. So the game will likely play, but you're going to be waiting for this one likely to start. I mean, granted, I'm no weatherman, but I'm just looking at the reports. Looks like there'll be some heavy rain for the first few hours of the expected start time. But yeah, I'm the same thing, Joey. I like the over yesterday personally because you throw two lefties at two righty dominant lineups, and you would expect one or both of those teams to score runs. This is a little different spot, but Tanner Roark is just super susceptible, and Alex Cobb certainly has bad days. But overall, this is not a spot I like personally on any side. So I guess we can hop on to the next game. So Indians and Tigers. Now I'll tell you this. Logan Allen going for Cleveland and Jose Urena for Detroit. And this is one of the few leans that I definitely got wrong yesterday. I liked the first 5 under in the game yesterday. And Cleveland just had an absolute explosion of runs, a bit of a home rumble, I believe. But, either way, it was interesting to see them do good work against a left-hander. They really struggled with lefties last year. And a good left-hander, too, from Detroit. And Skubal, I think it was throwing for them. Am I pronouncing that right, Joey?
Yep.
Can Cleveland repeat again as far as them piling on runs? Maybe, maybe not. Do you go back to the well with first 5 under? I'll be honest, I'm a little scared myself of it, but at the end of the day, this team, or the Cleveland in particular, first 5 unders have been a cash cow. Now, a game like yesterday, do you look at that as just a complete anomaly, Joey? I mean, I personally do, and I would be willing to go right back to the first 5 under with a fat number at this park, even though, 2 bad pitchers. But what do you think on this game and the matchup?
Yeah, I'm with you. Obviously, yesterday finally went over first 5, but I'm not totally against going back to the under here. Definitely first 5. Urena gave up 6 runs, 5 earned on 4 hits, 4 walks his first start versus the Twins. He gives up a hard hit rate of 70%. Not exactly the recipe for success, but Logan Allen, the lefty's going. He pitched decent versus the Royals. 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, striking out 5 across 5 innings. He did have a good 2020. But struggled in his first taste of the majors in 2019. At minus 180, I want no part of the Indians, but if I had a lean, it would be first 5 under.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I think that I'm not a trends guy by any means, but this Cleveland team typically struggles to find success early in games and no Lindor, which is taking a little bit of effect on them early in the year. Nothing crazy, though. And look, I know Urena's a bit of a gas can, which that'll be tilting if Cleveland does it again by themselves, but definitely a spot I lean in. I know Detroit's got some some decent righties, so they could expose Allen a bit. But yeah, I'm with you. To me, 9.5 for this park's a big number. And I think, like I said, people always look at like 2 bad pitches, like, oh, I got to bet the number over. But for this park in particular, 9.5 is a monster number. I mean, you don't usually see a number 9.5 or 10-ish at this park in Cleveland. So just keep that in mind that numbers like this are usually a little too big for these types of parks. But overall, moving on. So next game, Mets Marlins. So Jacob deGrom, oops, I did it again, or oops, they did it again. I told you yesterday on the video that if every deGrom line moving forward is going to be in that sub 250, sub 300 area, there's almost going to be value in every start fading deGrom. Not so much because you're fading him in particular, but because, again, if you're going to get 30 deGrom starts, right, and you're consistently laying 250 on his starts-ish, average, we'll call it average price, 250, 225, you're going to need to win about 70% of those bets, right? So is Jacob deGrom going to record a win in 70% of his starts? I mean, the answer is likely not, right? For sure, because even when he pitches well, the Mets don't always give him support. When he's going to have a few games where he gives up a few runs, will the Mets give him enough support to go over the top? And then, of course, when he pitches really well and exits the game with a lead, the Mets will, in fact, blow a few games for him as well. So there's going to consistently be value. Now, granted, if deGrom keeps losing starts like this, the market will make a bit of a change. But overall, I still continue to say there's value in fading deGrom starts, whether you're taking a run and a half, whether you're just taking them on the money line against them, because laying 225, 250 is just kind of been ridiculous. And they did it again yesterday, no support against an average starter. But I did say I liked the under yesterday, so that was nice to kind of be a sweat-free bet if you tailed that. This game in particular, though, so Marcus Stroman, and they just announced Curtis for the Marlins, old Tampa Bay guy. I like Stroman. I liked him with the Blue Jays. I just think he's a guy who can get outs. Now, the problem with him is he often pitches to contact, and he doesn't eat innings either. So it's weird. Like usually guys who pitch to contact are good at eating innings. He finds himself into high pitch counts early in games, which is usually kind of tilting to watch. He does bail himself out with a double play ball often, though. Interesting in this spot. What line is this exactly now? Consensus. So you want to lay 210 with Stroman in this spot? I mean, God bless you. What do you think on this, Joey?
Yeah, I'm with you. Stroman pitched decent the first time out. A lot of ground balls, but he's not a strikeout pitcher, as you mentioned. Pitches to contact. I think long term, he probably is not going to be profitable if you back him. Especially, he's going to be more than likely a favorite. Obviously, what did you mention? Minus 180 he is right now.
Stroman, I think he's up at the 200s actually.
Oh my goodness, minus 200. I want no part of that. Obviously, Miami's going with the opener. So it's going to be John Curtis, probably pitched an inning. Then Paul Campbell's going in, who I'm not really familiar with. He was a draft pick in 2017. I think this will be his first year in the majors. So he hasn't pitched in the majors, and he hasn't pitched above Double-A. So he should have some jitters here. The Marlins bats have been silent though to date. So I don't have really a strong lean here. I'm basically just off this game.
Yeah, and in the same way for me, like I know I leaned the under yesterday. This spot, though, I don't lean anything in particular over or under.
The weather's bad. The weather's bad here, and it's looking like it's 50% chance of rain. I'm sure it's raining in Citi Field as well.
Yeah, so I live about 45 minutes away from it. It's been pouring here all morning. I'd expect it to be similar, much like any game on the Northeast. Basically, you can make the argument could get postponed or heavily delayed all day. So just keep that in mind if you're betting. If you're not somebody who likes to keep your funds tied up, likely the Mets will see a delay or potential postpone. Okay, so next game. This is actually a good one. This is going to be my best bet. So Tampa Bay Rays, New York Yankees, Brent Honeywell Jr. Versus Jordan Montgomery. Now this will be a bullpen day for the Rays. I'm not so concerned with what they do on the pitching end of things. More interested in fading Jordan Montgomery. Now, I know that a lot of people have been high on this kid for a few years, or at least above average on this kid. We'll call it bullish. He's been Jekyll and Hyde a bit at times. He's shown some real bright spots, then some gas can spots. He kind of mixes in between. The spot I do like in this game, though, is the Tampa Bay Rays over 3.5 runs. I got that minus 120 at FanDuel. It's basically the consensus price everywhere, though. It's still there about that number. About that number and VIG. So I like what I've seen from the Rays hitting. I talked about it when they came back home, and in the video that I did for Rays Yankees, where I didn't really trust Kluber, and then they played Domingo Germán, and they looked really good against Germán as well. And they're just getting a lot of hits. They're giving themselves a lot of scoring opportunities, which is something I like. They're not gonna wow you with the home run ball, even though they hit a few out the last few days. But if they're going to consistently put guys in scoring position, runs will accrue. They're a dog here, so you'd expect them to potentially see the full 9 at bats. I always tell you guys about home team, betting team totals or run lines. You sometimes lose that last at bat. But for me, I like a team that sticks are going well. They draw a lefty here, which is a little different than what they've seen the last few days, right? They've seen 2 righties, Kluber and Germán. But this team's got some good righties. I know that, in previous years, this team had really struggled against left-handed pitching, especially in the strikeout department. But again, they have a few extra added righties, guys from the right side of the plate that can mash. And I just really like what I've been seeing from them consistently. To me, this is a ride the streak and fade the opposing pitcher in the same spot. Perfect storm, if you will. I like over 3.5 as the best bet. Tampa Bay Rays today. What do you think on that, Joey?
Yeah, you're getting a good number for sure. Yankees bats have been struggling. Haven't shown up really. Jordan Montgomery is decent, but he's definitely susceptible. The thing I'm afraid of is, Michael Wacha it looks like they're going with an opener, and then Michael Wacha's coming in. Wacha gave up 8 hits, 5 runs in 5 innings versus the Red Sox first time out, and he did get out a couple jams to limit, or the numbers would have been worse. He struggled in 2020 with the Mets. 2019, he gave up 26 homers in 126 innings, one of the worst in baseball. Plus, he eclipsed a swinging strike rate of only over 10% once since 2014. So, he's somebody I'm looking to fade. So, but Montgomery, he pitched decent first time out versus the Orioles. Take that with a grain of salt. Tampa Bay's offense is definitely better than the Orioles. They're hot right now. They have the Yankees number, that's for sure. So I definitely like your look there, but I'm off this game.
Okay, cool. Royals, White Sox. Now I continue to mention that this Royals team will in fact often see steam. Now, granted, this is a little bit of an anomaly situation because you have a below average left-hander in Minor going up against a very right-handed heavy White Sox team. Dylan Cease, though, is not a guy by any means that I'm in love with. This is a spot that's interesting to me because if it was a right-hander going for Kansas City, I'd absolutely love Kansas City in this spot. I do have a little bit of fear, even though Minor is, proven to be a guy that works himself out in terms of, he's not a guy that often finds himself behind in pitch counts and he makes good pitches, but at the end of the day, he still doesn't have a blazing fastball and he relies on location for a lot of his success. And if that's not there, it's going to be a long day. Dylan Cease, I'm sure will be a guy that ends up having a decent year. Didn't look good in his first start at all, but how much can you really make of one start? What do you think on this, Joe? Because I see a total of 8.5. Seems a little low, but, not exactly like runs have been pumping in this series. What do you think on this game from both sides?
Yeah, so Mike Minor over. He faced his old team the first start of the year. The Rangers, he gave up 4 earned 6 innings. But as we know, this guy's an innings eater. He pitched 145 innings in 4 of the last 5 seasons. His FIP and ERA do continue to rise as he gets older. And this White Sox lineup is good. Dylan Cease has really good stuff, but obviously trouble locating the zone. He almost has a 1.75 whip. Gave up 3 earned runs versus the Angels in 4 2/3 first time out. Both bullpens have pitched quite good to date. Both offenses are in the top 10 on base percentage and batting average, plus top 15 in runs scored and 10th and 11th respectively in slugging percentage. So I'm thinking runs are going to be scored here. Ultimately, I'm off this game, but I do lean over.
Okay, cool. Also, guys, like the video. We got about 100 of you watching or so. So make sure you like the video. Unless you have like carpal tunnel, make sure you go ahead and just, here, let me just show you. It's like, it's like just a click, like for the video. Helps out a lot. It means a lot. So would really appreciate it. If you don't like the video, I mean, literally go fuck yourself. Okay. So, you know what, Joey, you're right. That was a little aggressive.
It's Sunday. All right.
That was a little aggressive. It's holy day.
Yeah.
I was, I don't know really where that came from. I shouldn't have said that. I like black out from time to time. I mean, I'm sure you go through it as well.
Yeah. I mean, you got to pick up for Holden when he's not here. I get it.
Yeah. Someone's got to be an asshole on the show, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. So Twins Mariners, Matt Shoemaker versus Chris Flexen. What do we make of this Twins? So first of all, the Twins had multiple opportunities to get us over that 4.5 hump yesterday. A lot of absolute hard contact against Kikuchi that didn't wind up translating to much outside of the Cruz homer. And then, Miguel Sano, if he just singles late, this is a winner. If the Twins just get their runner over, this bet is likely a winner in the 10th inning. Either way, I'm not a big play-by-play guy for what could have, would have, should have happened, but I really liked that spot. Now, this spot's a little different with Flexen going and Shoemaker. Look, you're on another game where you have a sub 4.5 team total for Minnesota, but again, this is not a left-hander going. So I typically like to target when Minnie's going up against left-handers. That's not really the case here. Now, Flexen is somebody who's gaining at least a decent amount of momentum. A lot of people like him coming into the season, and he pitched really well in his first start. How much do you make of it? And Shoemaker's just been or Schumacher. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Shoemaker's right.
Shoemaker. So he's certainly shown some gas can qualities when he was with the Angels for a bit. I think he was with Tampa too, right? Was he with Tampa? I mean, not Tampa, Toronto.
Yes.
Either way, this is an interesting spot. Look, gun to my head, I'd probably lay the half run with Minnie the first 5, just because like a line like this, I'm typically used to. If Minnesota plays an average at best pitcher and they're home, I'd expect most of these lines to be in the 210, 215 area. Seeing some 180, even some 174 at some spots, 175. It would make me lean to lay the 130 half a run in the first 5 of Minnesota. Not a love spot though. Seattle's been finding ways to put balls in the seats, which is nice. I mean, they got a few off Pineda yesterday, and even some few base hits as well to put runners in scoring position and move guys along. But overall, another tough spot overall in the game. A light number at 8.5, but yesterday was not fun to watch from these two teams. Just leave runners on base all game, and Minnesota's not exactly a team that's going to move runners over. They're looking for the long ball. Overall, not a spot I love anywhere here. I'd lay the first 5 gun in my head, though. What do you think here, Joey?
Yeah, so Flexen obviously came over from the KBO, and he pitched really good in spring, really good his first start of the year. He got the win against the Giants, 5 scoreless innings, 4 hits, striking out 6. His numbers back with the Mets, obviously from 2017 to 2019, not very good, but hopefully that trip to Korea rejuvenated his career, and we'll see. So I'm gonna like take a wait and see approach with him. Basically, obviously he pitched good in one start, but you need a bigger sample size before you fully gauge what's gonna happen in the MLB now. But Shoemaker going for the Twins, another guy who pitched really good his first start, but another guy I have trust issues with, to say, he did pitch against the Tigers first time out. He allowed 3 hits, 5 Ks, 6 innings. His advanced numbers are better than what the surface says. Twins bullpen has been really good to date, but do I think this deserves a -200 with Matt Shoemaker on the hill? Absolutely not. Basically, I'll be off this game, but maybe this is another Twins team total spot.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it at all. I'm more of I like them against left-handers, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it overall. And Seattle's bullpen's a mess. I mean, I know yesterday Minnesota didn't do much against their bullpen, but they should have. I mean, they had opportunities to. Multiple runs on base late in that game. Either way. Okay, so next game, Cardinals Brewers. Now, I mentioned yesterday Carlos Martinez going up against Hauser was a strong lean for me in favor of Milwaukee at dog money. Primarily because I'm not a Carlos Martinez guy. I know people like really slob his knob for whatever reason. And I know that back when he came up in the league, he was good. He just hasn't been the same since. And it's just like people a pitcher has 1 or 2 good years, and then like they can have 2 bad years, but like people still remember those 1 or 2 good years as like, oh, this guy's, still got it. Look, Carlos Martinez has to prove it to me for a little bit longer sustained before I start wanting to lay 150 with him against good teams. This spot, though, so Ponce de Leon, another guy smoking mirrors, right, against Brett Anderson. Now, always scary throwing a left-hander at a Cardinals lineup like this, especially since now they have Arenado as well. A lot of righty pop in this lineup. But look, Milwaukee looked really good yesterday, swinging the sticks really good up and down the lineup, not just the top or the bottom. That whole lineup was hitting yesterday. Why not again? Like, why can't they hit well again? To me, you can target this in a few different ways. You can go Milwaukee's team total over. I haven't loved what I've seen from the Cardinals pen either. Not like Ponce de Leon is an innings eater by any means. So look, I personally, I don't even mind going right back to the well with Milwaukee. If I can get them at a little better of a price, I'm still seeing like 110, 115. Let me just see what the current consensus is. Yeah, so 116 to 120 at some spots. Or not 120. I'll tell you what, 120 is an auto bet. So if they roll to 120, auto bet for me in favor of Brett Anderson. I know it's tough. I can't imagine you love Brett Anderson against this righty heavy lineup, Joey, but what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so obviously another set of starters that I do not trust. Brett Anderson going for the Brewers, 4.37 ex-WOBA versus Cardinals roster. Goldschmidt and Arenado own him. In 33 at-bats, 16 hits, 4 homers, 12 RBIs collectively. He didn't pitch terrible in 2020, but again, this 2020 was a weird season. They only played in their division, so he only played the NL Central. And after the playoffs, we clearly know that the NL Central was probably the worst division in baseball. They won 1 game in the playoffs, and 3 teams made the playoffs. So he did give up 4 earned runs his first start to the Cubs, including 3 homers. And the wind wasn't blowing directly out in this game, so it was blowing, I think, left to right. Ponce de Leon going, he has good numbers versus Brewers team, but he only have total of 38 at bats, 1.80 WOBA, 0.8 or 0.083 batting average. He pitches better versus lefties. He pitched good his first start, 5 innings in Miami, 3 hit ball and 1 earned run. Milwaukee's pen obviously has been bad so far this year, but I truly think they're much better than the numbers suggest. St. Louis numbers, they haven't been that good, but they give up a lot of hard contact and home runs. Ultimately, I'm off this game.
Yeah, I can't mind it. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be afraid to back Anderson here, but for me, it's like you got a team that sticks or rolling. Maybe if you don't want to bet the Brewers to win, maybe just bet their team total over. I think you should be able to get that. That should be actually, it's probably going to be closer to 4 because of them being a road team. So I'd assume it'll either be 3.5 at extra vig or 4 at a neutral vig, like maybe 110, 105 ish. But yeah, I really like that spot. I think the Brewers bats stay live, and again, Ponce de Leon is smoking mirrors. Okay, so next game. Rangers Padres. So Foltynewicz, the big Braves starter for quite a bit. The one big thing I want to mention on him before going into this game a little further is Foltynewicz's fastball looks to be almost back. I say almost back because he's throwing it at about 94 these days, where last year it was in that 90-mile-an-hour area. But when he was good, okay, we'll call it 2017, 2018, his fastball was in that 96, 97 MPH neighborhood. It's still not there, so he's not going to be able to bail himself out as much as he used to. And now he plays in a little bit of more of a hitter's park, and that he's in the American League. It does draw a potent Padres lineup here, and Adrian Morejon. Am I doing that pronunciation right on that J?
That's how I say it too, but I think it's wrong.
So what do you think? It's Morejon?
It's there's like
Morejon.
Morihan. I think it's
Morihan. Okay.
I don't know.
Like a Tekken character.
I think it's yeah.
All right, so I don't want to butcher this dude's name anymore, but Morihan, a lefty at Texas. Look, Texas's potent bats are really from the left side, so can Texas looked good yesterday being able to score, but will they be able to do it back-to-back days? I don't know. I mean, maybe ride a bit of a streak with them. For me, I'm seeing this number starting to climb to 9.5. I'm actually going to really like that under if I can get there at normal VIG. I don't want to pay minus 125, but if it can get to 9.5 at a normal VIG, we'll call it minus 110. Or if maybe you get a few runs in the first inning, I'm going to want to jump on this in live spot on the under. First of all, I think with Fulte's fastball a little better, I think he could neutralize somewhat of this Padres lineup. And look, you throw a lefty at Texas whose primary big bats are left-handers. Likely them to not pile up runs themselves. So yeah, if we can get to 9.5, I do prefer under at decent VIG. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah. So, we faded Fulte first start, put money in our pockets. He gave up 4 runs in 2 innings. In the first 2 innings versus the Blue Jays, then he settled down and he pitched 2 more innings of no earned runs, total of 4 innings, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks. But the Rangers pen, one of the worst in baseball right now. No lead is safe with this team. Padres going for the 3-game sweep. The lefty on the bump. He pitched 4 innings versus San Fran, gave up 2 runs on 2 solo homers. And San Fran normally, hits lefties good. His numbers going back to the minors are not impressive, though. Rangers do struggle against lefties, as you mentioned, and I'm not sure what I'm going to get out of Fultonevich, so I'm probably just off this game. Shout out to chat, though, before we move on. DB Gnarly, Cody AV, the Baseball Zone, Fantasy Baseball Zone. My guy Marlin, what's up? Trot Lamb in the house. Don Yeezy.
Lance, Cody, our boy Yeezy, Perez.
Let's go.
Yeah, so don't be shy, folks. Drop comments and below. Even drop some eggplant gifts. Eggplant emojis. We're not shy. All right, so next game. So Giants Rockies. Now I mentioned in the video yesterday that the Rockies are a team that you can very well target their team totals under when they're not in Colorado. I know that they're always going to be lower numbers, but this team, at least how they're built now and the fact that they're not really spraying the ball anyway, this team's not going to score 4 runs a lot of the time playing out of their stadium. They just don't have enough bats to do it. And Arenado's a big loss for that lineup because you can more or less pitch around Blackman now in the middle or maybe pitch around Story. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot less threats in this lineup. So this spot, though, here, it's almost like one of those spots. Are you overthinking it? Because how is this not a smash spot under, right? It's 7.5. I know some steam's coming back to bring it to 8. DeSclafani versus Marquez. Maybe first 5 under 4. Maybe be a little safer because both these pens are awful.
Yes, please.
But the first 5 under to me makes a lot of sense. It almost just seems like too easy. Like, is it just me, Joey? Like I know that I line this a little lower than where it is, so there is some value there in the first 5. It just almost seems too easy. Like they had gas cans pitching in this series all weekend, and the total was like 8.5, and now you got 2 good arms or decent arms, and it's only a half run less. Like I don't know. I just think that maybe books are a little afraid in this early part of the season if we're hanging a 7 or but this is a park that used to hang 7s. Back in the Lincecum days, this park used to hang 6.5s often. So it's not like this park got any different. And you have 2 decent arms here, 2 teams bats that have been relatively cold. The Giants had runners on all game yesterday and couldn't get runs. Outside of the Crawford 3-run homer, this team could not get runners home from second base. So all that considered, I really like the first 5 under. It's probably 4. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, I'm all over that. This is the Rockies' first series out of Coors. And the runs have been hard to come by. They scored 4 total runs in 2 games and both losses to the Giants here. I think this one fits the bill as well. The Giants can't score either. They're in the bottom 5 in the league in runs scored. Herman Marquez going for Colorado. Started 2 games. This is actually his 3rd start of the year. He may be the first guy starting 3 games. But this is his first one out of Coors. He has 10 innings so far in Coors, 4 runs, 8 walks, which is kind of concerning, but he obviously has much better numbers on the road outside of Coors. His San Francisco team has decent numbers versus him. That's what is the only thing, that's a little tempering. But Brandon Belt, Crawford, Tommy LaStella, and Alex Dickerson specifically all bat over 350 versus him. Rocky's pen has been used a lot, and the numbers are not good. Same for the Giants. The numbers aren't very special, but they've got more innings out of their starters, the Giants, than the Rockies. And DeSclafani, he had a bad 2020, but he has a couple of good years in his career. A strikeout per inning, 1.29 whip. The first 2 games of this series both went under first 5 and full game. Giants are 7-1 to the first 5 unders. And I think this is a good look here. Marquez numbers versus the Giants squad are a little elevated from Coors Field. I think both starters are going to limit the offenses here. First 5 under 4 is my play.
Yeah, and I'm definitely in agreement there as well. So next game, Diamondbacks, Reds, Luke Weaver, complete gas can.
Yep.
Versus Jose De Leon. I don't know much about the kid going for Cincinnati, but I will say this: Cincinnati's off to like a historical run-producing start to the year. This series has been 2 relatively easy overs thus far. 3rd game here. I'm interested to see, have lineups come out yet? Because you always get like those Sunday lineups where like a few guys are out or 1 or 2 guys gets out from each team sometimes. So that would matter because like a guy like Castellanos is on fire.
Yeah, he's in.
Naquin too's on it?
Naquin's in.
Okay.
Reds lineup's out. Diamondbacks isn't.
Okay, so look, you can just go right back to the well. It does seem a little chalky, square, if you will. But, 9.5. I'm seeing, 9.5 at like plus 100. There's been runs in this series, whether they've come from Cincinnati, whether they've come from Arizona. There's been runs in this series. There's been multiple scoring opportunities for both teams. Cincinnati especially has been hitting the ball out of the park. They've been doing it since the start of the season. Is it right? Are they averaging like 7 runs a game or 7.5 runs a game to start? Something like silly.
They've scored the most runs in all of baseball.
Yeah, so it's been kind of wild.
66 in 8 games.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's 8 per game, over 8.
Yeah, so and it's not like their bats kind of quieted a bit yesterday, but like they had multiple scoring opportunities. They just really didn't punch them in. You might expect something different from them today, especially against Luke Weaver. But regardless, to me, I think the only spot you can look, you can bet the under in this game if you want to quote unquote fade what's been happening here or in general. But man, you grab the rosary beads if you're betting under in Reds games these days. So my lean would be over at the 9.5 number. 2 below average pens, 2 below average starters, decent sized number for this park, but I've seen bigger numbers at this park. So I'm not totally straight away from it, but again, ride the hot bats. In my opinion, lean would be over at the 9.5 number.
Yeah. So De Leon looked good in his first start. He gave up 3 hits, 5 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts. He has very good stuff. He just has to limit his walks. He did primarily pitch out of the bullpen before this year and probably will go back there. If the team decides to go to a 5-man rotation rather than the 6-man rotation they're using right now. His bullpen numbers, not crazy good. He often has trouble finding the strike zone, as I mentioned. The Reds bullpen in a whole this year have been middle of the pack, while Arizona's pen has the 3rd most innings in MLB. They got 2 losses on their record already. Luke Weaver going. He didn't pitch terrible in Coors his first start, 5 2/3, 4 hits, gave up 3 solo homers. Finished 2020 1-9 record, 6.58 ERA. He throws his 4-seamer 50% of the time, has a low strikeout rate and whip rate. I think this Reds offense will get to him early. I'm just not fully confident in De Leon. I think the longer this game goes, the better the chance the Reds do have. They have the better pen and definitely better bats. I do lean Reds team total over, Reds money line, but as well the full game over.
And to answer one question from overtime, flexing over 4.5 Ks at plus 188 is a must. Plus 188, it's nice. You're almost getting obviously near 2-1 there. The Twins bats have shown that they'll K for sure. They'll go down swinging and they have a bunch of guys that love to hack. Now, They did change their lineup a bit though today. I think having like John Caven. Is that coffee black, Joey?
Always.
Oh, you're disgusting.
This coffee was made like 2 days ago too.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I accidentally clicked
Ugly
that.
hat. There you go.
Just to remind you, Joey.
Look, what are you, a Mets fan? You mad because I got the colors on, but it's a Yankee hat? It's all good.
So the only thing I would say with Flex in there over time is I think it's very realistic that if he only goes like 4 innings because he gives up a few long balls or gets himself into jams, it'll be very difficult for him to go over that. You can almost argue for the opposite end because Seattle seems to strike out against everybody. I don't know what the number is for Shoemaker, and I know he's not a big K guy, but Seattle strikes out against everybody. I mean, their strikeout numbers are ridiculous to start the year. So I don't know what those numbers are on the opposite end, but I'd actually lean the other end. Assuming Shoemaker's numbers are like 3.5 or 4, to me, there'd be more value there versus Flexen. And Flexen, it does make sense. I do like what you're saying there. But, again, it's always scary. A road game against the Twins, targeting a pitcher's K over primarily because there's a chance he could exit early. Okay, so next game. What's next game? Dodgers Nationals. Now, this this is like Cy Young Award prime 5 years ago. Scherzer versus Kershaw. I personally haven't loved what I've seen from Kershaw the last few seasons. I know that I want to be clear, he's still a very good pitcher, but it's like people still put him in that conversation of elite, and I just don't think he's there anymore. And Scherzer is interesting because his strikeout numbers haven't dipped at all, but his home run numbers have extremely moved up. He gives up a ton of home runs now. It's almost like you can guarantee him for 6 Ks and two long balls in almost every start. And now he plays a very home run heavy team in the Dodgers, and they're hanging the number here at 7.5. I mean, I'd even think this is going to move down to 7. I'll tell you what, if this moves down to 7, and that would of course impact the Dodgers team total. Am I crazy for thinking the Dodgers team total at 4 at light vig would be like an absolute smash buy? I saw 4 at -106 on FanDuel earlier today, but I think if this sees a little more steam south and this number becomes 7, you'd either get 4 at dog money or maybe even 3.5 at extra vig. Convince me why the Dodgers team total today wouldn't be in play against Scherzer in this crap pen for the Nats, Joey.
No, I like it. And the Nationals hit lefties good too, so 7 is quite tempting to even take the full game over. Scherzer obviously gave up 4 homers versus the Braves in the first start, all solo homers, in a game that the Nationals came back and won. The Braves, and Kershaw has, he pitched good versus Oakland, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 8 Ks, but then in Colorado, he did stumble a little bit, 5 2/3, 10 hits, and gave up 6 runs. Kershaw is definitely at -200. Like, this is not a number I'm looking to back. I'm going to be off this game, but I definitely do lean. I like to lean with you. And the full game over 7 is quite tempting as well. I see I'm getting a little slack for my black coffee. Or what are you, a child? I mean,
you should have got more slack, to be honest, Joey.
I mean, if you're going to get a coffee and you want it to do the right things, why are you getting, tea? What do you put in it? Creamer and all that shit.
Yeah. The more creamer, the better. I drink creamer right from the bottle.
Yeah. Like, get
Half
out
and
of
half.
here. Come on, dude.
Half and half.
I will be on the pooper in about a half hour, Champino, but that's good. A little Sunday, free it all up for the rest of the day.
Also, real quick, my guy Philip Cormier jumping in, talking about his flaccid size and his social security number. By the way, no one is doing this in the chat anymore, and I don't understand why not. It's entrance protocol. It's actually disrespectful for those that don't. So yeah, just a quick heads up there. Tyler likes a little bit of cream, a little bit of coffee with my creamer. See, Tyler gets it. Tyler gets it.
That is
Tyler gets it.
Yeah.
You're the weirdo, Joey, for the black coffee. That's disgusting.
Right.
All right. So final game, the Sunday night game, Braves Phillies. Matt Moore, Drew Smiley, arguably 2 gas cans. I'd much argue more that Matt Moore is more of a gas can. Braves look tremendous after a crap start. So this is a tough team to fade right now. It's a not small line, but 157. I'll tell you what, I got to figure a popular play in this game is going to be Braves first 5. I mean, lay the half run. You'll probably get that at -105-ish. Like, am I crazy for liking that? I mean, Phillies, not some of Phillies bats because they still have, Real Muto and Hoskins, but Bryce on the left side. I like the Braves lineup against left-handed pitching. I just up and down the lineup outside of Freeman seems to have a lot of hefty righties. For me, the only way you can bet this game, if you wanted to bet it, otherwise just stay away, would be laying the half-run Braves first 5. You got a team playing really well against a team that's lost a few in a row now. And Matt Moore's on the hill. It's just, look, Drew Smyly could blow up here. It's not like he's excellent, but he does have decent K potential. At least not like Matt Moore can get himself out of jams with strikeout stuff. So I lean the first 5 for a Sunday night game. Don't love it, though. Probably won't be a spot I back. What do you think on it, Joey?
Yeah, 2 not crazy good pitchers, but if I had to choose a side, I definitely like Drew Smyly better. Matt Moore's, strikeout rate is in the 10% strikeout rate. The guy doesn't strike nobody out. Doesn't have an overpowering fastball. Throws about 90-mile-an-hour fastball. These are both lefties. So Smyly pitched against Washington first time, who is very good against lefties. 6 innings, 4 runs, 2 earned, and gave up a homer, but he struck out 8 people. He did look decent. And then Matt Moore pitched against the Mets, 3 and the 3rd inning, 2 earned runs. He walked 4 people and struck out 4 people. I mean, I think I'm off this game, but I'm with you. If you have to pick a side, I'm definitely with Atlanta. Lay the half-run first 5, I'm fine with. You could even probably take full game Atlanta, maybe -1 rather than the 1.5. But ultimately, I'm off this game.
All right, so that basically wraps up the slate. For me, my best bet was Rays team total over the 3.5. I really like that spot. I should have that really favorable. And Joey, what was your best bet for the video?
Cubs Pirates under 4.5.
Okay.
First five.
Nice. Yeah. So guys, everyone, thank you for joining in today. Check us out, runpurebets.com. $15 for a week, 60 for 45 for a month with code BEST25 off. You get full access to the Discord where me and Joey are in there talking, all day about baseball. And you got Keg doing UFC, Keg doing NASCAR, Tyler Spread, HTP doing NBA, D doing soccer. Just got all a bunch of sports talking, live chatter in Discord. And of course, more content, articles and such. And last but not least, the picks. So yeah, look, thanks everybody for joining in. We'll do this every Sunday. Hopefully maybe Holden will not be a pussy next week and be able to join us. Who knows? Maybe even my father won't ghost me as well. So we'll see. But other than that, thank you everyone for joining the video. Be sure to gamble responsibly and stay safe, folks. Joey, you'll be back on a few minutes, right? About a half hour. 1:30, I'll be on this channel. I got Modestus Bukaskis. I think I said that right. UFC fighter will be joining me, and I'll be interviewing him and asking him about upcoming UFC events. Awesome. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be in about 40 minutes. But again, guys, thanks as well always for joining in. We'll be back next Sunday with this again. But until then, gamble responsibly and stay safe, folks.